Okay, so this is the video where we start talking about how this new moon on February 27th is going to affect all the rising signs. And we're going to start with Aries rising. Aries, you have this new moon in your 12th house. 12th house, emotional healing and introspection. This new moon in Pisces invites you to process your emotions or spiritual matters on a deeper level. It can be a time of quiet introspection, but the influence of Mars in Cancer might push you to take action on matters of emotional security and your family. So, with Mars being in your 4th house direct, that influence has the emotional drive to protect your emotional boundaries and work on your home life. The challenge is balancing your emotional impulses that you might have with the need for action. Then you have Jupiter and Gemini that's direct in your 3rd house now of expansion in your communication and your learning. So this brings some positive energy there. When it was retrograde, you might have felt more of a blockage to your ability to express yourself and communicate with others. So now that your energy is back, your mind and interactions with those around you are starting to get better. So this also supports your intellectual growth, your broader understanding of how you relate to others as well. So with all these aspects happening, it may encourage you to undergo some emotional transformation that helps you find deeper meaning or healing potentially related to your family and your communication with others, whether it's with family or people in your life. You might feel a strong urge to dive into introspection, maybe isolating yourself a little bit. You'll want to rest, but also call for intellectual stimulation growth at the same time, which could lead to a harmonious balance between your internal and external pursuits. So I would say this new moon would be a great time for you to maybe watch some, Gaia TV or something, those shows that kind of go into the spiritual realms or esoteric subjects. This combination of Mars in Cancer, which is in the 4th, and Jupiter in the 3rd, can indicate that your home and family are very key themes in your life right now. And your emotional well-being is definitely dependent on the way that your family dynamic is. So, especially when it comes to relating to them and communicating with them. So this new moon really does provide an opportunity to set a goal to develop better understanding with the people in your life, the people closest to you, the most important people to you. And now we're on to Taurus rising. For Taurus, you guys have a balance between your social life and your personal goals, because this new moon in Pisces is going to be in your 11th house and Mars is going to be in your 3rd. You may feel an urge to connect with others, but also have a strong desire to assert your own personal needs and your self-expression. It's possible that your friendships and your social connections may be influenced by how you communicate your emotions or your ideas to others. Be mindful of balancing the emotional side of your interactions with a rational approach to your long-term dreams and aspirations. So we have Jupiter that's direct now in your 2nd house. Financial and intellectual growth is what that brings. It's expanding your potential there within your finances. This new moon is encouraging new beginnings in your aspirations, like what you want to do in the future, to be a part of your stability. So, good time to think about how your dreams, especially your creative and idealistic ones, can contribute to your financial or material growth. You may have opportunities to earn through communication, creativity, or your social endeavors, all of which could tie into your future vision. So, for example, if you have a dream to start your own business because you're tired of working under somebody, you're tired of doing that regular 9 to 5, And you want to be more creative as well, which makes sense because you guys have Aquarius in your 10th house, right? So you naturally gravitate towards having a more unique kind of career. So, and with Mars in Cancer, this here combined with Jupiter and Gemini, your emotional investments could help greatly in, like, when you emotionally invest in yourself, it can add to your resources as well down the line. So Mars in Cancer gives you this drive to take action around your finances in different ways, like a more unique way, possibly prompting you to take emotional ownership of your possessions, which you have to start there first, right? Before you really are able to come up with those solid ideas that take flight, you have to start from square one. So you get in tune with your emotions that you have with all your possessions that are connected to your self-worth, essentially. And Jupiter's influence can expand these areas. But ensure that you're not being too impulsive or emotional with your spending or your resources, of course. Overall, though, this combination suggests a time of emotional and financial growth, with a focus on new beginnings in your social area and your aspirational areas. A heightened drive to communicate and assert yourself with Mars in Cancer, and potential financial or material expansion through your communication and your intellectual pursuits, Jupiter in Gemini. It's a good time to set intentions around both your social goals and your financial aspirations, but be mindful of balancing your emotional expression with practical concerns. And now we are on to Gemini rising. So Gemini, you guys have this new moon in your 10th house. So career and public life, plus your self-expression, which is Jupiter in Gemini, your first house. The new moon in the 10th of career and public reputation, combined with Jupiter in the first house, suggests that your personal growth, your self-expression, and your public image are closely tied to your career ambitions at this time. So you might feel inspired to take some bold steps toward a new career direction, or maybe, if not changing careers, having a more unique way of implementing strategies at your job, which gives focus to yourself, right? People start to take notice of you because of those new strategies that you come up with. But you can only get there when you are connected to your authentic self, and that takes reflection. So Jupiter in the first can make you more confident, willing to take those risks and put yourself out there in your professional life, which could definitely lead to, of course, more opportunities and public recognition. Financial drive and career goals is that mixture between Mars and Cancer that's in your second house with the new moon in Pisces in your 10th. Because Mars gives you a strong drive to pursue your financial security, which could be closely tied to everything else, because second house is your self-worth, right? So it goes hand in hand. You have to be careful, though, because there's always emotions that drive it. If you don't balance it out, then that could have a negative response, of course, but that goes with everything and everyone. This could lead you to initiate new projects, seek ways to increase your income, your material security, especially if your career is one that involves creativity, intuition, and nurturing others. Confidence and your career, Jupiter in the first house with this new moon in the 10th, it brings that sense of optimism and expansion. When you have Jupiter in your first house, you naturally, people will naturally gravitate towards you, because think of it this way: Jupiter has a massive gravitational pull, right? So whatever Jupiter is, wherever Jupiter is, it's going to easily get the gravitational pull is going to pull you into that. And people are being gravitated towards you even more so than ever now with it in your first. So you got to find your confidence and your charisma, because you are in the spotlight. The new moon in Pisces could inspire you to set goals to align with your true self more, to trust in yourself more. And once you do that, you'll have more enthusiasm, and you can combine your dreams and reality together with more ease. This is all tied to your emotional security and your financial gains, though, because Mars being in your second house, it's going to go direct, right? I've said that before, on the 23rd, which is in a couple days here. So it'll give you that extra kick that you need to have that determination, that inspiration. Overall, this whole combination suggests a time of personal and professional growth. Your career or public life may experience a surge of opportunity or visibility, and your self-image, your confidence are going to become more aligned with your professional ambitions. This is an excellent time to set your career goals, but reflect deeper, go deeper, make sure that you don't just stick to the surface. So you can really allow yourself to be creative. And you find that through your creativity mixed with compassion, right? Mars in Cancer is going to be motivating you to take action on your financial matters. So that goes hand in hand with Jupiter in your first. That brings you the opportunities. Then Mars in Cancer there going direct is the one that takes the action to latch onto those opportunities. And with that new moon in the 10th, it brings that new career shift for you, whether it be a new strategy or just a completely different professional direction altogether. But it's definitely all about how your career is impacting your financial situation. So, brings a strong sense of personal growth, though, an opportunity there for your career advancement, with a major emphasis on your communication and your self-expression together. So, it's a powerful time to set new intentions for your career and public life, and taking advantage of that confidence that Jupiter direct brings you in your first house. And Mars going direct will help you to take action around the finances and resources that you have that directly impact your career ambitions and your personal growth. So overall, it's a time for taking bold steps in both your professional and your personal life, driven by emotional security, creativity, and communication. All right, and now we are on Cancer rising. Cancer, you guys have this new moon in your ninth house. So, new moon at 9 degrees in your ninth house, ruling higher education, spirituality, long distance travel, foreign cultures, philosophy, and publishing. This is a new beginning in the area that touches deeply in a new spiritual journey, awakening. You could touch into that through different methods, whether it is through meditation, whether it's through actual travel or study. You could experience some kind of shift in the way you believe something, like something that you always thought was a certain way might change, and it could be different. But it's important for those things to happen because that's how you explore and grow, right? You may feel a heightened desire to travel, and for good reason, because that will definitely go in line with the theme, right? I mean, you're supposed to get that desire. And when you get that, you should definitely go for it. You know, don't let anything hold you back from that. You could also have a desire to start a new course of study. Could be a time where you start to plan out the new thing you want to learn about. Do you want to get into some new creative hobby, perhaps, or explore more of the mystical side of life? Maybe something connected to psychology, astrology as well, or metaphysics. Then Mars in Cancer at 17 degrees in your first house, being direct on the 23rd. Well, your identity, your physical body, your personal drive, how you assert yourself, it's going to give you that surge of energy again. So probably for the last couple months when it was retrograde, you felt kind of, more stuck. Everyone has, just in different areas of their life. But for you, maybe in ways of not feeling like you wanted to be totally seen, kind of secluding yourself more, maybe when it was retrograde, feeling more repressed in a way, not as vibrant. But with it going direct, it's going to motivate you to come back out again, be assertive, not be afraid to be assertive, but just be careful because it could also cause impulsiveness and aggression because Mars, we don't want to play around with Mars. Sometimes in Cancer, it can get quite emotional when it's direct. So you still got to be careful with that. Definitely emotionally driven. So you combine war and emotions, and that could be very, very explosive. So just be more protective over that. Like create the shield, the protective shield around yourself so that you can balance it out. But regardless, it's going to increase your confidence, your drive to pursue your goals. You will feel more protective of yourself and your loved ones. Possible conflicts due to emotional outbursts or defensiveness is definitely likely, but if you can control that and have an awareness of that, it'll be less likely. Focus on your physical activity or a new fitness routine could really help kind of get some of that extra energy out so that it's not kind of brooding, And then Jupiter is in your 12th house, and that is your subconscious, your spirituality, your dreams, solitude, hidden things. So ever since Jupiter went into Gemini, it's been really expanding a part of you that was not fully known or seen. So you knew something was different happening, but you couldn't really put your finger on it, right? It's kind of just it's hidden, but it's like the hidden blessing. And that's usually what they refer it to when you have Jupiter going through your 12th. It's the hidden blessings that happen, like guidance from unexpected sources or protection from unseen forces. But regardless, it does give you that off and on urge to retreat or take time for yourself to recharge. It, when it was retrograde, I'm not so sure how that might have played out for you, but now that it is direct again, and it's been direct for a little bit, it's possibly increased your interest in astrology, psychology, esoteric things, spiritual things, anything related to spiritual things. Overall, though, with the new moon being in your 9th house, Jupiter in your 12th, it's really about spiritual growth, learning, and expansion. And around that time, you could have some powerful insights if you meditate or through your dreams or even through study. Mars in your first being direct will make you more action-oriented. So perhaps whatever you are inspired by, you can put into action. Like it inspires you to take a step to a certain direction because of that inspiration. So whatever it may be, a new spiritual or philosophical path or a trip that you take. Just keep in mind, though, since Mars and Jupiter are in a semi-square aspect, there could be some inner tension between your desire to take action and a need to process things internally first. Don't impulsively jump to something, right? And I think we could all use that advice, at least for me anyways. Take a step back first. Don't impulsively just go for it. Process things internally first. But the 9th and 12th house activations suggest foreign travel would be very, very beneficial to you. Any kind of deep study, a retreat of some kind would be very, very good for you around this time. But overall, it is a powerful time for your spiritual breakthroughs to happen, self-discovery, taking action towards your personal philosophical growth. It may bring opportunities for travel, education, deep introspection. You might feel a strong drive to redefine your personal beliefs and aspirations. Just be mindful of your emotions and your reactions to things. All right, so now we are on Leo rising. Leo, the new moon in Pisces at 9 degrees is in your 8th house. The 8th house, let's go over it again, governs intimacy, shared resources, transformation, psychological depth, and endings and rebirth. So this new moon is signaling a new beginning in this area of life. It's a new emotional or financial partnership for you, merging your resources with someone, or an investment, or even receiving an inheritance of some kind. You could have some kind of psychological breakthrough. So it's a good time to deep dive into shadow work, healing past traumas that you have. Brings about mystical and spiritual experiences. So you might have an increased desire to try out different practices, whether it's like through metaphysics, healing through sound healing, for example, or astrology, strengthening your psychic abilities and your intuition, all those things. It's also a great time to let go of toxic patterns, past attachments, fears related to intimacy and vulnerability. So if you feel that you still feel like a trigger of some kind that is related to a past trauma, it's a great time to really look deep within yourself and sit in that, connect the dots, and think of why that happens. Like, for example, if you have a fear of abandonment and it like causes you to go through these um, episodes of like emotional turmoil because you sometimes feel, oh, the people that you love are just going to leave you, but there's no evidence of that. Then really look back and think, why do I have that response? Could this possibly be linked to a past experience I had where something was taken from me out of nowhere and it left me in a state of shock, which is trauma? So therefore, you learn the world is like that it operates like that. It's like the thing where you have this assumption nothing ever lasts forever, or if something's really good, then eventually it's going to fall. Like those are all related to past programming. So it's a good time to really look at that and their connections, emotionally purging those toxic patterns. And then, of course, you could get some powerful intuitive downloads. So you could receive insights through your dreams as well, through meditation. You have Mars in Cancer in your 12th house. So Mars going direct in your 12th. It was retrograde for a while, which I personally feel it was beneficial for Leo risings to have Mars retrograde. It wasn't easy, but I think it was very beneficial in the end. So when it goes direct, it could cause inner restlessness. So just be aware, be on top of that before it happens. And I say that because I'm a Leo rising, so I paid attention to how it affected me before it went retrograde and the differences. So once it starts going direct on the 23rd, watch out for those subconscious patterns that could kickstart again. And those subconscious patterns are fueled by your trauma. So that's why this new moon in Pisces is perfect for you to work on a new beginning in the way that you're programming. That's as simple as it gets. A new beginning in fixing the programming you have in yourself. So, because it could either bring out internalized energy, which could have frustration, anger, all that kind of stuff. It's like these inner battles that you are fighting when it goes direct. So, a lot of journaling is good during that time. Like if you're feeling really frustrated, and this is exactly what I've been doing, just write everything down, even if it sounds like psychotic. Just write it down. You're getting it out. You're just writing down words. It's better than saying it out loud, let me tell you. So, but not just that, your hidden enemies that you didn't know you had, or possibly that you have known about, like enemies that will start coming out of the woodwork again and presenting themselves. Those conflicts can resurface with the hidden enemies in your life. So just be mindful of passive aggressive behavior that could either be from yourself or others, because you could encounter that, where others are being passive aggressive towards you. And instead of fighting back, take a mental note. Take a mental note and just, you have this recognition within yourself. I know who you are, and I know now what you really were in my life. So if it's a hidden enemy, you will know them. And you don't need to take physical action or verbal action. Just let them be and let them fade, because they will fade. Your enemies will fade eventually. And don't put up with it anymore either. If it's something that, because people will play games with you as well. Like they don't, like almost like they don't actually care. And you can tell when they don't. So instead of wasting your time, just let them be. Let them play their games. If they want to do that, that's fine. And if they end up losing you, then that's on them. That's on them. And stick to your guns about it. Don't let toxic people come back into your life. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't let them come back in your life. So, you could have intensified dreams, of course, because of Mars going direct. You still were having dreams anyways, because, retrograde, I had a ton of dreams. But when it goes direct, it might be just more, it might trigger you more, actually, because during the retrograde, I've had a lot of dreams that were kind of weird and really crazy, but they didn't really affect me. I wrote them down. They were odd, that's for sure, but they didn't really affect me or anything. Desire for solitude, you may feel a need to retreat and recharge before taking big external actions, which is good because, you're thinking things through first and not just being impulsive and jumping on things before thinking about it. So, let's see. Then you have Jupiter direct in your 11th house. So 11th house, social networks, all that kind of stuff. It's been in our 11th house for a while now. You've had opportunities to make new friendships, social connections with others to help broaden your perspective throughout this time. Throughout the remainder of the Jupiter in Gemini transit, I would say continue to expand your social network, right? Because you could come across someone I really do feel that you could meet someone that you're fated to meet, that makes a huge impact in your life, that helps you to accelerate your success, or becomes a unexpected, crucial part of your life. I just get that feeling for sure. So keep on working on that, expanding your social circle. Overall, though, it's really about your deep personal transformation in the 8th house, and that's exactly what the North Node is. Like, this new moon is the start of the North Node and South Node axis, and it is exposing your hidden battles. So deep personal transformation meets hidden battles in the 12th house, and your social expansion in the 11th. So you are pushed toward emotional and financial renewal, but Mars in the 12th suggests that you need to process things internally before taking action, because Jupiter in Gemini is the financial, it's connected to finances as well. And so is the 8th. But with Mars in your 12th, it's like being careful and looking, like really making sure you know who your friends are and who your enemies are. Jupiter acts as a support system so that you can create new connections. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have hidden enemies in the 12th house, shows through the Mars transit, having Jupiter in Gemini is great because it's helping you to release those hidden enemies that you might have and finding a better circle for your life that will help you to find an exit, basically find an exit door, so that you're not trapped with enemies. If that's if you are, I don't know. I just think it's like a cycling out of like old people that have run their course and putting new people in there for your life, that'll help you, that are not tied to bad things. Yeah. And they'll help you. These new connections can help you navigate these deeper emotional shifts that are happening in your 8th house throughout the next 18 months. Balance is definitely needed, though, between your inner world, that's your 12th house, where Mars is, the new moon, setting new intentions in the 8th, and your external world, which is where Jupiter is. You might feel torn between retreating for self-reflection or engaging with a growing social circle. So it's between those two. But overall, this period encourages deep emotional renewal, private inner work, and new social opportunities. You might be closing an old chapter in intimacy or finances or personal power while simultaneously expanding your social networks. So it is a difficult time right now because you're going through so many changes and transformations behind the scenes. And though Mars can feel very, very frustrating being in your 12th house, it is a great time for spiritual and psychological breakthroughs. Keep going. Don't give up. It's not the end, and have more confidence in yourself. When you start to get down on yourself and you start to feel like, I keep getting triggered, I keep falling, I keep messing up and all that kind of stuff, stop doing that, because honestly, you're going through a very difficult process right now. The aspects are holding all Leo risings hostage. We are definitely, and I loved how the Leo King put it. I watched his sun sign horoscope. He just released it. It was amazing. Like, when it came to Leo risings, and I know that he also does sun signs, so of course I watched my Aquarius one too. But when I was listening to the Leo rising was one, he was like, yeah, like for the last couple of years, all Leos have been like we have a collar on us, like we've been told to heal basically from Saturn, Big Daddy Saturn, that ass. But anyway, yeah. So I think I'm just going to do those rising signs for now, and then I'll do the rest of them over the next couple of days before we get to the new moon.